Linguists know that rhythm is a vital component of language learning. And rappers would be lost without rhythm.
Headshot here and I got your mind open. Yeah, then I keep on bowling. Them I don't know me, I have to show them. Now, tell me, do you think these manx is joking? We pure weed, you golden open. I wreck the stage, mirror the left, I might smoke him.
So Head of French Hilary Meadowcroft thought that a cross-curricular project to create a rap in French might prove both enjoyable and valuable.
2, 3, 4.
There's a certain amount of synergy in how pupils learn a foreign language and how they learn in music, because there's an emphasis on rhythm and rhyme and pronunciation. And it seemed to me that we could take both those areas and work on a project which spanned music and French.
When you write things down, it's like you're writing it down, but it's not actually going into your head. But now you're doing this, you've got to remember it.
This programme will show you how Hilary implemented the project for 2 Year 7 groups and 1 Year 9. Hilary is head of French at Lymm High School in Cheshire, and she wanted to develop a cross-curricular project that engaged both pupils and teachers and provided an opportunity to be creative for both.
Super. The whole thing about creative learning is that the teacher is learning to be creative just as much as the students, and the teacher uses as a starting point his or her imagination.
To be successful, the project had to start with the basics. So in early lessons, teachers emphasised correct pronunciation.
Le plan de ma maison, describing the rooms in your house and where they are. Follow the golden rules of French pronunciation to work out how each of those new words is pronounced. We focused in on the house today, the various rooms in the house and the vocab for that. OK, if you made a golden rule for this word and other words ending in these letters, what would it be?
The X is silent.
C'est super.
The project became genuinely cross-curricular, following careful liaison with the music department to find a scheme of work that suited both subjects.
Today's lesson is like we've just been doing, keeping a steady pulse, but also adding some of the key concepts of rhythm that we've been learning about as well. Let's just get that pulse going again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Rest, rest. Okay. If anybody thinks they can add, come on down. The process as far as music is concerned is we're dealing with pulse and playing sort of pulse games, rhythm games, and really getting the children confident in building up layers of rhythm.
Then French vocabulary was introduced.
With the help of my French assistant here, we're going to do the vocabulary and we're going to repeat it. My real concern was making sure I was getting the vocabulary right, making sure I was getting the pronunciation right, which I think was a particular concern for me. But to be able to have assistance from the French department on that really helped. What we're concerned with is getting the vocabulary of the words, getting the rhythm that is inherent, that is in those words when you break them down to those syllables, and getting them against that pulse that we've just created. So your first task is to break down maybe 3 or 4 pairs of words in your groups and to create a chant. Think of it as a chant, think of it as a rap that will fit over our rhythm of, or our pulse of. And then the next stage was to bring those rhythms or those words on top of one another or side by side in some creative musical way, so that they were taking a little bit of ownership of where the words came within the pulse and of course finally adding the instruments to it to give it a better texture. Let's have a listen to see what some of you have produced with that.
Les tambourines, les chambres, les sondes, les jardins, les chambres, les cantines, les pizzas, les jardins, les fontaines, les salons, les bordons.
Well done.
Next, the pupils were briefed to create a rap, using what they'd learnt to date.
I reckon we should get rid of the and bit.
Can you go through that? Does that actually work, that Pluto dynamique?
Onto the Floyd Illy Pluto sheet, Pluto dynamique. Yeah, that's
it works
right.
all right, doesn't it?
All of a sudden it makes them realise that they've got a little more freedom with the language. It makes them be more creative and makes them more inquisitive about the language. They come asking for language and seeking language that they perhaps might not have otherwise done.
Nous sommes gangsters, nous fumons, nous fâchons, nous donnons la vie et mort ici. Pluto dynamique et l'artistique. Nous sommes gangsters, nous fumons, nous fâchons, nous donnons la vie et mort ici.
A lot of them commented that it will really help them to remember those words, and it was more interesting than just learning them from the page for a vocab test.
It's better than usual lessons because it's more fun and it's better than just writing things down.
Because when you write things down, it's like you're writing it down, but it's not actually going into your head. But now you're doing this, you've got to remember it, so you sort of know.
And we're going to try and learn it off by heart, so we'll have to remember the vocabulary.
Instead of doing a test, we can assess their learning with a task like this, and we can really see who has achieved higher than they perhaps would have, who has really raised their attainment, and who's consolidated the language that we've actually taught them and is now more comfortable with it than they perhaps otherwise would have been.
Mon père est sévère, ma mère m'énerve. Je ne suis pas le fil parfait. Je suis désolé, je suis désolé.
The final stage was to import a real rhythm and language expert, rapper MC Crystallise.
I'm down to ride with anybody that want to ride. Brixton to Longsight, Moosite to Shanghai. I don't want to mess with nobody's eye. But there's some things that get to lies, like white rappers, snitches and backstabbers in a pit full of snakes, and there's no ladders. With them, the joker smokers, whack-ass promoters. I see you. Bring them engineers that can even tweak an EQ.
When I was thinking about the project and where I'd like to take it, I decided that I'd like to bring a rapper into school. And there are lots of agencies around who employ artists who can come into schools on a day or a half-day basis. And Crystallise came in, and he did a really excellent job, and the children were really, really inspired and motivated as a result of seeing an artist perform.
Right, how's everybody feeling all right, yeah? Yeah. A bit more energy. How's everybody feeling all right? Yeah. Okay, can everybody speak French? Yeah. Oui. What we're going to do today, we're just going to try and work on structures, a bit of timing like you've been working on in your classes. We're going to work on a bit of dialect, projection, all these kind of things what lead to MCing, performing in any kind of zone or any kind of way.
I think the key to this project is that there's a real purpose to what they're doing. That, you know, language learning is quite often learning a set of words that seem not particularly relevant to the students in the classroom. But in this case, they knew that they were going to take the vocabulary and use it to make up a rap, which really captured their interest. And they were really looking forward to the rapper coming in, and that gave them enthusiasm and drive to complete the work.
The whole structure of music and all that, it's all on the change now. Yous are probably the pioneers of the next level of music and beats, what come out, 'cause everybody's looking for the new thing.
It's extremely easy to create raps in any language, and the French language is no exception. Even pupils with only 6 months of language can develop raps in French because you're just concentrating on the rhythm and the pronunciation.
So I'm going to do it in different styles each time. You got to follow the syncopation. If I do it in a bodily, if I do it in a physical way, you got to try and copy the physical way as well. Yeah? So that's everything. The way I say it, the syncopation, and the performance what I'm giving, yeah? So we're going A, E, I, O, U. 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 A, A-E-I-O-U. Within rapping now, once you've wrote a rhyme or a poem or a spoken word or anything, you have to memorize it really. So it's good to memorize, because that's what they'll do with hip-hop that they watch on TV. They might not understand it, but they can memorize every word and repeat every word back to you. They might not understand it, but that's why it helps. It's repetition of it. When they're in the bedroom, play it 15 times a night. The same kind of thing. So if we make something that's in school, that's towards a curriculum, that is funky at the same time and up to date, it engages them. They'll probably take it home, listen to it, and study language without even knowing it. Right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go around the class and we're gonna read the rhymes out in a group, try and be syncopated together, so you're saying it the same way. So, do you want to start first, yeah?
La la la, la la la, Jean, Jean, la la la, la la la, Jean, Jean, la la la, la la la, Jean, Jean, la la la, la la la, Jean, Jean.
It's not just like sitting in a classroom and writing it all out and just listening to the teachers say it. You actually, because it's someone different, you feel more involved. At first you're a bit shy, but then you sort of get into it and you want to do some more.
Forgot the melody to it. Can you think of anything just off the top of your head? So it don't really matter, because words are their own beat inside themselves, you know.
Le jardin, jardin. Le tambourin. Le sonde, sonde. Le chambre. Le garage, garage. Le paysage. Le bordon, bordon. Le salon. La campagne. La montagne.
What's up with that? Yeah, fantastic. That's good, even without the beat. You see how you make your own beat? We're still into it for a beat for you.
It has sort of made me get more involved in the French lessons, because if there's like a word, then I just think about it using music, so it's easier to remember, and it has helped, and it's good.
Le jardin, le tamarin, le chambre, le cendre, le garage, le paysage, le télé, le salon, le bordon, le entrée, le briques.
Wicked, that, though.
It's better because you get the beats in your head as well, and you put the words to the beats, and then you remember how to pronounce the French words.
How difficult was it to organise, involving 2 departments and an outside resource?
3.
I had some funding to get the rapper in, so that was a great advantage. As I said, if you don't have that benefit, you could still do a creative project like this between the departments in your school, and perhaps the final product would be a performance by pupils for fellow pupils of the raps that they developed.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. They've done great, they've done great. Some star rappers in the class, some star rappers, French, bilingual rappers, that's what it is, isn't it? So they've done phenomenal, it's great. Does everybody enjoy it anyway? Yeah! Was that good enough for you? Yeah! Merci, merci.